Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And this is a very unfortunate story that I have for you coming straight out of Canton, Ohio. With a 27-year-old black woman and what she has allegedly done to herself and to an animal. Very hedonistic, very traumatic. And this story encapsulates some of the pillars that I say that are destroying our country morally and ethically. And this is all surrounded by, and this is a cautionary tale of untreated mental illness, the opioid crisis, having hopelessness, feeling helplessness, and being poor in America. So let's get into it. A black woman arrested for allegedly killing and eating a cat in front of her neighbors. Yes, that's what I said. A troubling incident occurred in Canton, Ohio, where a 27-year-old woman was arrested for allegedly killing and eating a cat, raising significant concerns about mental health and its impact on behavior. The woman, Alexis Telia Farrell, faces multiple charges, including injuring animals, violating prohibitions concerning companion animals, and disorderly conduct, according to court records filed in Stark County. This shocking event has left the community in disbelief, particularly due to the public nature of the act, which took place in a residential area in front of several witnesses. According to WLBT, investigators from the Canton Police Department said that Farrell reportedly killed the cat by stomping on its head before consuming the animal. Yes. The incident occurred at a housing complex on 13th Street Southeast, an area where many families reside. The disturbing nature of the crime has led to widespread concern, not only about the safety of the community, but also the underlying issues that may have contributed to such extreme behavior. One critical aspect that needs to be highlighted is the potential role of mental health issues in this case. It is highly likely that Miss Farrell is suffering from an undiagnosed mental illness, which could explain her actions. I think that is definitely a major contributing factor. Untreated mental illness and possibly an opioid addiction. Mental health problems often go undetected, especially in the Black and low-income communities, where access to mental health care is limited. The lack of access can lead to untreated conditions that manifest in harmful or dangerous behavior, as may have been the case here. The arrest took place on August the 16th at around 11 p.m., and Ms. Farrell has been in custody ever since. During her arraignment, the court set an initial bond of $100,000, reflecting the severity of the charges against her. However, the case also sparked conversations about the intersection of mental health and criminal behavior, particularly in communities where mental health resources are scarce. Ms. Farrell's case is a tragic reminder of the need for better mental health services and support in underserved communities. The criminal justice system often becomes the default response to the behaviors that are actually symptoms of untreated mental illness. This can lead to a cycle of incarceration without addressing the root causes of the behavior, ultimately doing little to protect the individual and or the community. As Ms. Farrell awaits her next court appearance, which was scheduled for August the 26th here recently, It is essential to consider the broader implications of the case. Addressing mental health issues, particularly in marginalized communities, could prevent such tragedies from occurring in the future. It underscores the importance of early intervention, proper diagnosis, and treatment to ensure that individuals receive the care they need before their struggles result in harm to themselves or others. And when I was researching this and saw and heard one of the neighbors that made a 911 call, actually several neighbors did. There was a male that made a phone call that said that this woman was eating this cat and had even approached him. He told her to get back. There was another call where a young lady made a phone call who was a relative of Miss Farrell, and the called 911, and then she had an opportunity to talk to the dispatcher and the police on the phone somehow. And the police officer, when she said, when Miss Farrell's relative said that Miss Farrell was having a breakdown and what she was doing, the police officer told her on the phone that the police were coming out there to arrest her, and partially for killing the cat. But Miss Farrell's relative kept saying that they wanted somebody to come out there from social services or bring an ambulance for her to go to the hospital. The police officer told the lady on the phone that that was not an ambulatory issue, that was a police issue because she had killed a cat and she should be arrested. I completely disagree with the assessment that that officer told Ms. Farrell's relative. A mental health breakdown, we need ancillary services to come out and provide some assistance. That's been the whole big issue with part of this defunding the police, which I'm not for, but I don't think that the police should come out for every incident that takes place. And if you're having somebody having a mental breakdown, you should have social services, counselors or whatever, an ambulance to get this woman to a hospital versus having the police there and making the situation even worse. And it could end up in a violent situation, especially for the citizen. It happens all the time. The police come out there. We already know that this young lady was having a breakdown. Nobody eats an animal that they just killed. She allegedly stumped a cat in the head and then ate part of it. And she also allegedly ate a spider. So there is a complete mental and psychiatric breakdown. Yes, an ambulance should have been there. Yes, the police can be there as a backup. But that woman needed to be at a hospital, not necessarily arrested. And then how do you give her a $100,000 bond for her killing a cat? No disrespect to pets, but we have people that are harming other people and have lower bonds than that. As I said to you earlier, this particular story is truly encapsulated in undiagnosed and untreated mental illness, possibly an opioid issue where she may have taken something and completely became demonic or had a paranoid schizophrenic episode or whatever you may call it. Is also surrounded by helplessness and hopelessness. When people get to that point in their lives, this is a 27-year-old woman who is just in the beginning of her life. So whatever issues and stresses and anxiety that she was going through personally, it manifested and it boiled over into this egregious behavior that she did to herself, to the unfortunate demise of a cat, and allegedly even ate a spider. So we all know in that particular scenario, and I'm not a psychiatrist, that she had a complete meltdown. I don't believe that arresting her was the appropriate measure. I think the police should have been there for guidance to get this young lady in an ambulance into a hospital, and then proceed with whatever charges you were going to do after that. But to get the police there, no ambulance, and to take her to jail, that situation could have completely gotten out of hand. Um, People are struggling out here today, trying to get to see a counselor, a psychiatrist, through our medical paradigm is very difficult. If you break an arm, you can see an orthopedist, go to an emergency room, and be treated right away. But when you talk about having stresses, psychological issues, it seems like our medical system in America puts that on the back burner. Undiagnosed mental illness leads to homelessness. People, it contributes to the opioid crisis. There are lots of things that are contributory to mental illness. We have a lot of our veterans that are walking around in our cities, homeless, talking to themselves. We have to put our finger on the pulse of making sure that mental health issues are at the very forefront and at the top of our medical paradigm, versus being at the very bottom. This is a very unfortunate case. Tell me what you think. This was a 27-year-old Black woman that had a complete meltdown and allegedly killed and then ate part of a dead cat and allegedly ate a spider. What a sad story for her, her family. That has to be troubling for people in that residential area and community to even witness that. And that could have been a very, very volatile and scary situation, by the police being the only system there to deal with her under this deranged moment. We need other ancillary services to come out and to attend to people that need help, that are having breakdowns, and just having the police there is not always the answer. Tell me what you think. There are many people that are suffering. We have a presidential election going on. The middle class has a heavy burden. We are losing the so-called American dream every day, and it is turning into the American nightmare. And what are we going to do to change it? This is a video channel to enlighten you and for us to manifest our truth in a positive, righteous, and God-fearing way.